Ashita. Good afternoon. Thanks for taking out time on a Wednesday afternoon from Bangalore. Always is a pleasure to have you in front of us and listen to your inspiring story. But today's topic is extremely interesting, and I think we'll have a lot to learn from you. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. You're just being too kind, Gaurav. Thank you. Equally inspiring. I love all the time that we spend together, all the conversations we have. So really excited to be here and do something bigger, which will reach a bigger audience than just our dinner conversations.
Absolutely, and that's his podcast is all about. I think there are many podcasts out there, but the one thing that differentiates us is that we speak very candidly and we try and get the essence very quickly to our listeners. So let's start with this. So today's topic, Ashita, is the power of reclaiming, right? Which is your voice, your space, and your story. And I think your story kind of weaves the other two elements to itself. So I think let's start with knowing Ashita a little more. Why don't you talk about your background, what you have done, and the journey that you're on right now? So would love to know a little about that.
Okay. So I'm from a small city, born and brought up in a small city called Jamshedpur, and born in a lower middle class family. Parents were mostly trying to make ends meet. Grown up with a lot of pressure, academic pressure. My mom was an authoritarian, and she expected too much out of me. But grew up with a lot of low self worth, low self love, always not feeling good enough, always being compared to with others around me, always thinking there was something lacking in me, and whatever I tried to do, it was never enough to fulfill what my mother expected out of me, and that kind of became my belief system. But slowly, you go out into the world, things starts to change, you have experiences and all of that. So I did electronics engineering, and then my first job was into IT, nothing related at all. And I was working for TCS for a couple of years, and then I started my own company, the interior design company that we still run today, the Karigars. No experience at all in business, no experience in interior design, but just took the plunge. I think couple of threads that hold good from the childhood, which I would want to, which are some gifts which my mom has given me and grateful to. Resilience, always seeing the glass half full, never giving up, and just wanting that very deep need to get better every single day. So even though I had a not so easy childhood, I would like to believe that it has not defined who I am today. And I think that is the journey which has been the most precious for me. So you get something from other aspects which are not in your control, and then you kind of live that life believing that that's the only way to live until life pulls you down, and there's a moment in your life which I like to call it as the dark night of the soul, and there is no other way to go deeper below that. The only way is now up, and that is when you pull yourself out and say, okay, what is it that I can do now? There is no other way out. So that is when I think took complete responsibility of my life, and then said, okay, whatever I got was this. I've complained about it. I have held many people responsible for many things in my life. But now at this point, what do I want to do? And then I said, okay, it has to be taking everything back in my hands and saying, now what do I do? And the only thing is, once it's broken down, you just start building up from scratch, bit by bit, brick by brick. And then the most beautiful thing is, you build it the way you want to build your life. And I think that is the most satisfying part of it. So I started Karigars 15 years back, and for the first 3 4 years I was almost running it, the execution, design, all of that, and Abhishek was handling the marketing and sales. And then I took a back seat after 4 years when I conceived my second child, and I took my motherhood role very, very seriously, went all in with alternate parenting, getting to understand what parenting is all about, what a child is all about, what raising a child means, what is a soul going through, all of that. Very beautiful times of my life. I've spoken about it with you as well. And then I think I came back once I think that role was kind of almost done. Life pulled me back into my business again. And from the time I've come back in 2021, worn like any other founder, a lot of different kinds of hats, trying to figure out what I enjoy doing right now in my life and also what the business needs. So right from culture to strategy to HR to admin to setting up the housekeeping to employee management, people management, mentorship, all of that. So the role keeps on evolving. So it doesn't make sense to talk about what I'm doing right now because I know again next year I'll be doing something else. That's the life of a founder. But just enjoying what I'm doing right now because I know that this is what I have chosen to do today.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I mean, there are so many things that you said, and there are so many learning from everything, every role that you have described. But let me kind of focus on a couple of things, right? So, how did you get that power, that to live in the present and take those decisions, not thinking that what is the future going to be, but what do I need for the present? And I'll give you an example. So, coming from the background that you have, you got a job, right? And that gave you a sense of security. So leaving that sense of security and no background of entrepreneurship before, and then getting into the Karigar, which is from tech to interior business, and no background there as well, right? And then building it up for 4 years, and of course with your husband and your team, and then leaving it all because you understood that now parenting is more important for you, right? And then when that chapter was done, and now you're reclaiming yourself to be an entrepreneur again and doing diverse things, and I know about them because we keep on talking about that, and that's very powerful because a lot many people think of doing that, but for one or the other reason they are not able to take those calls. So what is it that you have, Ashita? What superpower do you have that makes you take that call every time?
I think a little bit of it is who I am, which, like I said, that is something I've got from my mom. That always looking at the glass half full. I don't think I never uh, have learned how to focus my energies on the things that could go wrong. It's always about just take it up, see, get into it head on. I'll face whatever it comes. I think that is one. The second I think is the this inner voice that each one of us has. Okay, we always know whether we are living in alignment with our inner voice or not. That is always there. So I think somehow that voice for me has been extremely powerful. It's so powerful that I have not been able to ignore it. It becomes like the pain, and this is what I like to believe about change. I've read about it. I don't recall whose quote it is, but you change when only someone changes only when the pain of change is smaller than the pain of remaining the same, isn't it? For me, that inner voice of not living in alignment was so strong that I had no option. It was almost always constantly bothering me. The pain of remaining the same was so strong. For example, when I started the Karigars, I was a new mom. I just couldn't go back to a 9 to 5. I just knew I wanted something that'll give me freedom of time. That was my only criteria. I really did not overthink what I
Yeah.
was getting into, whether this will work or not. Those questions never came into my head. My only criteria was my priority is I need to spend more time with my child and I don't want to give up my career for this. I've worked hard for it. So, what can I do which will make me feel fulfilled? It will give me the kind of lifestyle that I want to live, but also be able to fulfill this most important need, which is time freedom. So I think not overthinking it could have been the age as well. I don't know, but not overthinking also helps. So I think it's a combination of these three. I would say.
Right. No, that's beautiful. And let me just take that cue of age, right? Sometimes given more importance than it should, in my view. But let's talk about that. So when you were young, you are still young, but you were younger, let's say that, right? And then you took a call from getting from IT to interior. But even today, even after accomplishing what you have accomplished, you are still making that change, right? You are still, kind of exploring what is out there more, and where all can you add value in your own self as well as in your entrepreneurial journey. So that change hasn't changed, right? That the change is still the constant for you. And
Yes.
age, do you think people should think of age while making that change, whether it's their profession, whether it's their calling, whether it's to do something in their personal lives, or it doesn't matter what age you are? It's just like how you said, when the pain of being the same is higher than the pain of the change, you kind of do that. So what's your take on that age factor, if I may ask?
I personally don't believe age has anything to do with any change that you want to do in your life. It's all about the inner deep calling that you have, that voice. How long can you actually, ignore it? There will be a point in your life when you can't, and it comes at different times of lives. But if there is no right time, there is no wrong time. We have heard of so many examples, McDonald's founders. There is Elon Musk's mother, who's called May Musk, and she is a Dior model at the age of 76. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have more than enough examples of people who have started businesses, made them unicorns, billion-dollar businesses after the age of 60, 70, whatever. Uh, I personally have seen people, and in the recent times as well, who are 90 plus, 92, 93, and I'm like, wow, this is how we should be living at this age. So I think we age more because of the beliefs that we have around this number. It's just a number, and we've been conditioned to believe this is what you should achieve by this, or if you have not achieved it by this, then you are a loser. I think all of this is conditioned. These are all stories in our belief because of social, because of whatever, our own environments, etc. I don't believe in it. In fact, what I believe is, the later you start something, I think you have so much more wisdom to create it out of, so much of more life wisdom around it to support it. So what you will
Absolutely.
create when later in life will be so much more meaningful, not only for you but also for everyone else around. I think when we start creating much earlier, it's a lot more, closed, because we are only thinking of ourselves, and our own identities and our own ideas of achievement are very, very small. It kind of grows when you grow. So if in terms of impact as well, I think that this kind of wisdom which comes with age, that is really beautiful.
No, absolutely. And you rightly said, right? I mean, for you, the age to start is when you start. If you start at 20, that's the right age to start. And if you start at 40 or 60, you don't know any better. And that's the right age to start. So I think I like that. I think doing is the only way to come out of that fear. So just getting into action. Okay, so let's talk about, I don't want to make it all around women in the whole professional environment, but I am a big fan of that, because my mother was a housemaker, and still a housemaker, and my wife kind of creates that balance. She has a profession of her own, she's a startup, and then she's also takes care of what she needs to take care of the house. And I'm absolutely awestruck, because it's very difficult to manage both these sides and have a great balance to it. And I know how much she gets stretched doing that. I mean, at the face she may be all calm and everything, but if within her, I know what the stretch is. So what has been your experience for that? And for our listeners, who are a lot of women out there, when they are thinking about doing their own business or being an entrepreneur by themselves, what is the suggestion or advice you have to give them?
So, I believe that a lot of these inbuilt pressures that we women have, and I'm no exception to it, is again conditioning. I think what has helped me overcome a lot of this inner guilt is to truly ask, is this something that is important to me and I feel I need to take care of it and that's why I'm doing it? Or is it because someone has told me and there's nobody else to do it? Am I taking this responsibility? So, do I want to do it or do I feel obliged to do it? I have to do it. So, I think that is a very important question that I have asked myself in the last few years. And wherever I feel that I don't want to truly do it, I've tried to create support systems. That's the only way for women to be able to come out of the household and do things that they want, they might feel more fulfilled in. A lot of women might feel fulfilled taking care of the homes, taking care of the family and children, like our mothers have done, which is absolutely fine. But if that is building up within you and your inner voice is saying that you're missing out on something, then it's extremely important for us to build those kind of support systems. So that is what I think is the only way for us to move out of the house and also be able to have this demarcation of this is what has to be taken care of because we live as a family, and then someone else will take care of it, either a family member or a support staff or XYZ. And
Yeah,
these are the things that I want to, because I still want to be involved in them. Whether it is, for example, I would want to go and watch a match that my son is playing, I still want to do that because it gives me joy to
sure.
just watch him play. So I will take out time for that. So that is what my take in it. And if specifically speaking to women entrepreneurs, I think what I would have maybe done better if I would have been listening to more women entrepreneurs when I was a young entrepreneur myself would be that you don't have to do everything yourself. There are so many women, people out there who have already walked. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are so many people who have already walked this path. They have figured out stuff and they know where the roadblocks are, what is going to come at which point of time. Just reach out for help. There is, and
Right.
I know that in this generation, in this time, there are so many more people who truly, truly want to help the younger generation, the new startup industry, the especially women entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of help out there. Just know how to look for it. Be open to it. I think that is very important. If a lot of women entrepreneurs are still thinking, how do I do it? How do I do it? The only people they ask are maybe just the inner circle of friends or family, but there is a much bigger world out of it. Look for mentors, look for other women who have just reached out to maybe on their LinkedIn page, on an email ID, on a phone number, whatever. Just reach out, whoever you admire, whoever you think you can get help from. You never know what avenues open up, right?
No, that's great. And, I was just thinking while you were talking, because I think, of course, conditioning and society is a factor, and it's absolutely a big factor. And I think somewhere men in our country is also a factor. I think we are also conditioned a way where we have many expectation from women, not understanding that the world has changed as well, right? Or so I think, yeah, I mean, I think it does require a lot of support from all the various functions that a woman can get to be take the dive and be successful at it, right? Because when you're going through that journey, every day is a day of success. I mean,
Absolutely.
you're gonna fall. You are going to have your doubts, and that is where that support is required. And I think, Ashita, that's very interesting of you to say that there are many women entrepreneurs out there who are willing to help. One just has to reach out, and I think we as humans kind of always take a back seat, thinking that, am I going to be too pushy, or is it really my space to ask for help? And being an entrepreneur myself for a little over 2 decades now, I can tell you that whenever somebody has reached out to me, I am more than happy to help, because somebody helped us while we were going through that route, right? So it always does.
Exactly.
So let me go back to that question of doubt. I'm sure in your career you would have doubted many things, or faced failures many times. How do you overcome that? What is that power that you have ingrained in yourself that you never stop and overcome that doubt every time that it comes through?
It's I still do. even now, if there is something new that comes up, you'll have those moments of doubt. Am I good enough? Can I add value? Am I qualified enough to do this even
Sure.
at this point? So it never goes away. I think first is understanding and accepting that none of us will ever know everything about even one subject. Right? There is nothing called perfectionism. A human being itself is not made for it. A human being is not synonymous to perfection. So even though we try to keep working towards it, we have to understand that it is always going to be a journey. It's never ever a destination that we can achieve in a lifetime. And the most knowledgeable people in the world will tell you this, who have just touched the surface in a particular
Mm,
subject, right? So first is accepting that that is what it is, right? This is who we are. And whatever I am today, I will try to give the best of whatever it is. And I will,
sure.
whether it is to a certain project, whether it is to a certain person, whatever it is. So, understanding that expecting perfection is not going to make it's never going to happen for anyone, whether it's EV or us. The second thing I think that really helps me is, a little bit of silent time. I think that is a part of my everyday routine, which grounds me. I feel the more that you are going up the ladder in terms of your work or even in terms of influencing people, the more we need to go inwards and spend time with us, because that is where truly the strength comes from. So when I am, so all of these doubts, etc., just like I said, stories that the mind is going to make, right? So I just sit at one place, do nothing, just watch the sky if possible, or some trees if possible. Just let the thoughts come in. It'll just keep coming in. So you try to just look at it as an observer, and then you say, okay, you get become a part of it, and then you come out, and then you again go back and you come out. So just let the thoughts keep flowing, and somewhere after 10 minutes or 12 minutes or so, there's a calm. And then it clears out. And then I get back to my center and balance. And I say, okay, the doubt is going to be there, but I'm going to put this aside because this is what needs to be done. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back to that point that you make, right? I think for me, just my 2 cents on this, I think I also have those doubts, and those are do come all the time, right?
Yes,
But in my view, those doubts reduce if you stop comparing to anybody else's journey,
absolutely.
and you only compare yourself to who you were maybe 2 years back, because you had those doubts that time as well, but you overcame that doubt for whatever reason, and you are here today, which is a better self of yourself, right? So I think that's the way I kind of deal with it, and it's helped me.
Lovely.
But
Yes, beautiful.
I understand what you're saying, and I think acceptance is the most important key, and then figuring out what works for you. As you said, centering yourself and introspecting works for you the best, right?
Yes.
So absolutely. So Ashita, what is the story ahead? What direction are you taking in life today, and why so? And what is it that maybe you want to do in the next 5, 10 years, if you have some clarity around it? I know it's changing, and it's changing very fast, but would just love to know about.
So if I, many a times I've looked back on my life and tried to see which is that single thread, which is the most meaningful, which can kind of sum up all the experiences and learnings that I've had. And the word that always stands out for me is reclaim. I personally feel that all of the inner freedom that I feel today, all of the freedom of speech that I have today, to be able to speak my mind without worrying about what the other person will feel, what the other person will think, how they will react to a certain situation. Also, learning this act of balancing speaking your truth while not offending someone or getting into their space and being maybe rude. I think that all of that has come only after I started reclaiming my own self first and then reclaiming my own life. So, what I really feel, again, I'm going back to that inner voice. It's basically, I mean, in the Bhagavad Gita, it's called Swadharma. I like to believe that my swadharma is always calling me very strongly. So this is the calling that I feel right now, to share this with other women around me and help them. Firstly, sharing the story helps someone else see that it's possible for them. It's almost as if when I saw some other woman do this in her own life and share her journey, I said, okay, if she can do it, and someone especially who I can relate to, maybe in her first half of her life, right, where I am right now, it's
Sure.
almost like she's giving me approval that it's okay to do it and it is also possible to do it. So it's a
Yeah.
combination of permission and inspiration. So I would say sharing my own journey and my own story for women to feel this, and then also helping them, like, putting a spotlight on someone and say, okay, this is who you are and this is what you can do. Let's now do it together. This is what you feel, you don't know how to do it, but you know this is where you want to go. Let's do it together. So I see I have this very deep calling of mentorship that I'm going to get into. So I see myself doing a lot more talks, a lot more work with women, mentorship sessions in whatever different kinds of ways in the next 5 years. Yes.
Well, that's awesome. And when you say mentorship, is there a specific industry or a specific kind of entrepreneurship that you want to talk about, or it's actually broad? People can reach out to you for anything and everything that they want to do.
So right now I'm already mentoring some women. One is still working in a job, but she has some ideas of what she wants to do. She wants to build something of her own. So helping her get clarity on what are the different things she's good at, she thinks she can start her own business in. How do we, see where her whole life circumstances and kind of what looks like the best option for her. The second mentee has already built a business. She's doing around a crore a year in revenue, but she doesn't know now, how do I scale it? What do I do next with it? She's still the sole founder. Do I look for a co-founder? Do I look for a member? What should I focus on right now to be able to, go get somewhere? So translating the bigger vision into those smaller steps, and then what should I do today to be able to do that? That's where the third mentee is one who's done she is into wedding planning, and she's done her, you know 18-hour work days, all of that, put in everything, and now she's like, I want to take selective projects, but I don't know how to reach out to that kind of clientele because I want to showcase the value that I'm bringing in right now. So all of these are in completely different places in their own lives and in their own entrepreneurial journeys. I think the foundation remains the same. If you
Absolutely.
understand the ABC of entrepreneurship, it's just about understanding which essay each one needs to write and help them.
Yeah. No, great. Absolutely. And where is it that people can reach out to you? If they want to have a conversation, they want to reach out and know you better, know your experiences better. What is the best medium for them to do that?
So right now, the website is still getting built, but I'm extremely active on Instagram and LinkedIn. So any of these two profiles would.
Great. Lovely. Any parting thoughts? We're almost coming at the end of it, Ashita. Any
Okay.
parting thoughts? Anything that you want to talk about? Maybe I would have missed something to talk about today.
Okay. I just see a lot of women around me today, whether the younger generation or even our own generation. And whenever I listen to their problems, uh, the only thing I think is, and I know it's much easier said than done. I think if each one of us starts to live and a much more authentic life, we'll be so much more happier. So in addition to reclaiming, I think the second word that I live by is authenticity. And what it meant to me a couple of years back, what it means to me today, I'm sure what it means to me next year or 2 years from now will change. But that is what it is about, right? The journey of understanding who I am. Why am I a certain way? Why am I getting triggered by a certain thing? Why am I expecting out of this some about out of someone, right? So understanding ourselves in our own aspects and trying to be authentic in every single interaction. Now, whether it is about just a conversation happening, it could be at work and it could be at home as well, where you want to say something because you believe in that, but you're keeping quiet because you think either I can't say it because there are bigger people out there, or you want to save a particular relationship. You don't know what these people will say. Oh, this could get into a fight. I could actually, my boss will start not liking me if I say this. All of these things keep on going in our heads. But that one conversation in which I quieten my inner voice, that is going to be a much bigger burden for me than speaking it out. I feel it's like looking at the, even in parenting we have this. So you either give in to your child's tantrum for a junk food, for example, because you want them to be quiet in the short term, but you know that there is a long term price to pay. Or you fight that battle in the short term and say, yes, I have given this lesson. The next time the tantrum will not be maybe this long, or it won't be so much sooner, and eventually my child is going to understand why this is happening. So similarly, in the short term, when I quieten that voice, I'm going to pay the price in the long term. So reclaiming yourself in that one conversation, just building that one boundary, just saying that thing out aloud, I think it's that is how we build our own selves, especially for today's women, bit by bit by bit. So every single thing, every single interaction in the world, every single day matters because you are listening. It's not about anyone else, because what is going on within you, anyway, nobody else knows. You are the one who's listening, you are the one who's living it every day. So do it for yourself, for you yourself to feel free, to feel that joy of living, to feel happy, because that is true freedom.
Yeah, and I want to share some points from my end on that word that you said, authentic. Right?
Yep,
I think it just
absolutely.
cuts the noise. Half of the time, I think we are not being honest to ourselves, or not doing justice to ourselves, just because we are not authentic to come forward and say or do things as they are, and it just delays everything. And time is everything, right? So if you delay things, and if you don't take that decision, you're not able to move on. So I think just cutting that noise is so good. And I took a claim on that I'm going to be authentic to everything that I do for my own self, and it has given me some great rewards. So I agree with that 100%. Ashita, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. I am sure that we will have a second episode, because there is so much more to you than we have heard today. And there is so much more coming, which I know of, and I'm sure our listeners would want to. But thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. Thank you so much. Really enjoyed this conversation today.
Yeah. We'll stop the recording, Ashita, but just be here, because I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to